chicken fried steak, smothered in drunken pork gravy. You know, on Triple D, I've seen a lot of great biscuits and gravy. I've had some training in this field, okay? So the pork sausage goes down, not a seasoned sausage, this isn't a breakfast sausage or what, and a little recycling, okay? Red chili flake. What makes a good sausage? Needs some fat. Now, if you find out that your pork sausage doesn't have enough fat to it, well, then you can go ahead and fortify it with a little bit of vegetable oil. Touch of some red chili flake and a little white pepper and salt and a little bit of black pepper, okay? So let that work. Actually, I gotta break that down a little bit. There we go. And you know what? I can already tell just by seeing the way this is sitting in the pan because it's kind of sticking a little bit and the fat hasn't started to render out. I'm just gonna put a little oil into it. Let that break up. I want that sausage to break up. I don't want it to be big nuggets of the pork in there. So I'm just letting it render down. Don't have it on super high heat, just about medium. Some onions and garlic coming together with this. I've got this delicious pork sausage with a little chili flake in here. And this is the basis of this, what I call kind of an inexpensive down-home country meal. Kind of warms everybody up. Get some onions in. We'll let those go first and let those kind of cook in this this pork fat. Let's get into making the dredge for this chicken fried steak. The panko, the Japanese breadcrumbs, outstanding. Actually, I'll throw a little bit of those down right now. So the panko is gonna go in. And I like it because it's a nice super crunch. You know, it's nice and it's light and it's just got that real distinct crunchy flavor. But there's something about breading with a cracker when you're making chicken fried steak. And then there's no chicken in that, by the way. Chicken fried steak is the term, but we're actually using steak. The onions are down. Let me get a little garlic in here. Kind of paste those two out. They call it chicken fried steak. I think it's because it's like a fried chicken crust. Okay, and a little more heat. Now, resealable bag. You can get cracker crumbs. You don't find them everywhere, but these saltines with or without salt will work great. Let's see, that looks like about 2 cups to you. There you go. If you get the freezer version of the resealable bags, they're a lot tougher and they can handle this a lot better. There we go. Now, we didn't eat a lot of chicken fried steak at the house when I was a kid. My parents were into, you know, some more organic cooking, but it's one of those things I always remember. When you smell it cooking, when you smell chicken fried steak going on, there's no forgetting it. Get a little bit of flour in here, because I'm gonna go with some buttermilk, the flour. Well, I'll explain in just a second. Okay, actually, you know what? Let me just keep this over here, and I think I'm ready to deglaze. There we go. Deglaze that pan with a little white wine. That's the drunken pork gravy idea. There we go. Little Dijon, give you a nice little bite to it. This is kind of a sophisticated gravy. Now, I've got the liquid in here, and we let that wine kind of cook off a bit, and I'm just gonna go ahead sprinkle some flour in right now. I don't want this flour to really gain any time here. I just want to kind of make a blonde roux. So the flour is going to mix in with the pork fat. There we go. And then when I add the milk and the heavy cream into it, it'll thicken up on its own. All right, we'll let that kind of cook down a little bit. There we go. A little salt and pepper for that flour. Down, a little stir. Make a simple egg wash. And then we're getting the eggs to stick to the flour and the panko to stick to the eggs. There we go. So a simple egg wash. Now, finally, let's take a look at this piece of meat. Pretty common piece of meat, the London broil. I like to use a piece of meat that hasn't gone through the tenderizer at the butcher. I'm gonna take it all the way through, like that. Take a resealable bag. Here's my little trick. Cut off the top. Cut down the sides. Now it kind of makes a little envelope. Throw the meat in, make sure it's in there far enough. We don't want to sit here and really beat this up. We want to kind of work this gently from the inside to the out. I'm just tenderizing a little bit to make it a little bit smaller and make it a little bit easier to cook and keep a good crunch. So look at that. So nice little tenderizing to that. Into the buttermilk, some fantastic flavor. Leave it in here long enough, it'll actually do some tenderizing. Into the seasoned flour. Into the egg wash, into the panko and the saltines. Now here's the key. Press down on it so you really get that panko to stick. Huh? What do you think? Take that, lay it out, let it rest a little bit to really adhere. Let me tell you about the gravy. What do I got going on in here? Well, what we have is some milk and some heavy cream, but you can see how it's kind of thickening up. I did that roux, added the flour in. It's a little bit thick. I'll just add a touch more milk. There we go. And let it continue to work. And I broke the gravy up with the wooden spoon as I went along. And the idea behind that is so I have little bits of pork in there, not big chunks. All right, so that looks dino. Let's check the back here. Now, to these cutlets. Look at that. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna eat chicken fried steak, this is the way. So first check it. Just wanna check that oil. Oil should be right around 325 to 350. And why do you do it so thin? Well, I want to be able to cook the meat, get it to about a medium, and I don't want to overcook the breadcrumbs and have them get too brown, okay? Now, this is a big enough pan, I can actually put 2 in here, but you wouldn't want to try to squeeze 3 because by the time you do that, you start to expel a lot of moisture. So what happens is we're just about halfway up the chicken fried steak, just about halfway, not submerging it. So this is more like a shallow fry versus a deep fry where it's just completely submerged with it. We just want to keep an eye on it, make sure it doesn't brown up too quick. Take a look at this. This is what we did with the London broil, the chicken fried steak. Actually, I think this is mine. Oh, nice crunch. Primo crunch, actually. Okay, and here is the sausage gravy. We call it Drunken because we hit a little white wine in there. Looking fantastic. Bring this over here. And I gotta get a bite. Prime time, the gravy's out of bounds.